Life disrupting situations are sort of my jam. Now, by that I mean that both experiencing them and helping people with them is something that I live and breathe each day. So, today I'm going to tell you a little bit about something that's happening. And I'm going to try to then go a little bit outside that so that you can find out what may or may not apply to you. All right, so here goes. 7 days ago, I found out that I needed rotator cuff surgery on my right side, which is my dominant arm. And I had suspected it, but it was confirmed. 4 days ago, I got the word that the surgery would be next Tuesday. So, about 8 days from when I initially heard about it. And I was going along fine, doing my little things, getting checklists together, trying to get all my resources together. Then 2 days ago, I got overwhelmed. It just all hit me, what a major thing this was and what I wanted to get done beforehand, as well as what I needed to get done, both from a professional and personal standpoint. And guess what? The tears abounded. And I started sending out emails to people about all sorts of things. And yeah, I don't even necessarily know exactly what they say. I hope that I didn't offend anybody really greatly, but I was just at the point of I'm going to throw up my hands and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Now, I realized a couple of different things during all this. First of all, when I sent out those emails, it was all about boundaries. In other words, I'd gotten to a point where I knew that I couldn't do everything. And so I had to, at some point, say, yeah, sorry, I would love to do this, but I can't. And so I put up that boundary of, yeah, sorry, again, I'd love to, but I can't. Here's what I can do. And if that will work, then great. And if it won't work, then I'm sorry, but I can't. Sorry, waiting for calls about the surgery. This is real life happening as we speak. And so that's one thing that I really talk to clients about. And in this case, I had to talk from Coach Janice to client Janice about the fact that I needed to put boundaries on my time and on my tasks because that's the only way that I'm going to be able to deal with all of this. The other thing I had to do as part of that, though, is part of my very own flexible structure method, and that is minimizing the inside clutter. That's that brain chatter that happens that says, oh, life as we know it is not going to go on unless I do this. And to be able to turn around and say, okay, I need to reevaluate and really, where does the buck stop? What really won't go on if I don't get it done? Now, in this particular case, my life disrupting event of rotator cuff surgery has an end point, assuming all goes well in surgery. And so 4 to 6 weeks, I'll be in a sling. I will not be able to do many things, including things like brushing my teeth with my right hand, which is what I normally do. I'll have to do it with my left hand. I'll have to put in eye drops with my left hand. Anything that takes two hands, I will not be able to do, which also includes being on the computer and to some extent being on my phone, at least in the early days. And total recovery is 4 to 6 months. So, from a life disrupting situation standpoint, it's a fairly short period of time. Heck, it's even shorter than COVID. Um, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to be a major deal. And so I just had to say, hey, I gotta pull myself together a little bit, and I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do in this situation. Now, that was 2 days ago. One day ago, so yesterday, as it were, I realized something. I said, "Oh, look, I'm going through exactly what I talk to my clients about. I am going through the grief phases." So I don't mean in terms of grief like somebody has died, but grief is very much associated with our life transitions. So I'm going to show you a little picture here. Okay, we have three different phases. So we have the days phase, which is the shock and denial and difficulty functioning in daily life. And honestly, I didn't think I went through this because I was sort of expecting it. Okay. Next up is the distress phase. That's when there's emotional upheaval. There's some physical impacts. That's definitely what happened 2 days ago. Okay, got the distress, had the distress. And the thing is if you've heard me talk about the grief phases before, is that things go back and forth, and it is not necessarily pretty. And so that's what I realized was happening, was that I was here. Now, sometimes too, you see, we go from distress down to, sorry, this is craziness, discover. That's sort of the acceptance phase when you reconnect to things. And I sort of thought that I had gone straight to here before yesterday, when I realized that no, that's just not how this happens, and I should know that. So anyway, I've said, okay, again, inside chatter, I have to think in terms of, yep, I go through it like everybody else. So it means that I then need to pull other parts, again, Coach Janice to client Janice, uh, about things like skills. So, what skills do I need to use? And in this case, I'm talking about my delete skills, which I did. I deleted some of my tasks, and my delegation skills. So I started asking people to help me with different things, as well as different tools. So in this case, my tools are things like lists, and also actually some supplies I might add too. So pulling together some of the supplies that I know that I will need for surgery and recovery. Now, you may not be going through rotator cuff surgery. In fact, I really hope you're not, because it's pretty brutal. However, this same stuff that I'm talking about applies to other medical based life disrupting situations. Hey, even COVID, which we are all getting great experience with life disrupting situations. So, again, back in the beginning of COVID, about a year ago, we were all going through the days and distress, and you may still be ping ponging back and forth between those. You may be going a little bit into the discover, you know, but along the way, you have had to, learn some new things. You've had to learn how to say no to things. You've had to learn how to minimize that inside chatter, which is talking about all the things you wish you could do or want to do or should be doing, which you can't be because of the restrictions. The same ideas apply, though, with other things. For example, if someone gets diagnosed with, say, celiac, and so now they have to say no to certain kinds of food, and they may have to, go for some support by talking to a nutritionist. If someone has ADHD and is either newly diagnosed, or their diagnosis or their how it presents itself has changed, and so they need to, make some adjustments in their life. The same thing, going to be going through the grief cycle. And I hate the word cycle, so I'm going to say phases, because it's not like it's this nice little round cycle, because as you saw, we ping pong back and forth. But there's going to be some of that. There's going to be some adjustments to things. There are going to be some new boundaries. Going to have to learn some new tools. So, with, say, the celiac, new tools may include, literally new tools like new cooking things, cooking pots, etc., utensils, etc. Or with ADHD, it may mean learning new software or learning how to use timers. I'm just ballparking off the top of my head. What I am saying is that from my experience, again, both with myself in this particular case of the rotator cuff surgery, as well as my own clinical depression, as well as with all the many clients that I've worked with health related challenges, that just really remembering that going to have to put some boundaries in place, both with our time, our tasks, our stuff, but that I'm not really addressing today, uh, um, as well as dealing with that inside or brain chatter, or different people call it different things. I've heard people call it gremlins or their internal governor. I did like that one. Um, so, just sort of tamping down that little voice that's trying to tell you things, as well as dealing with that grief cycle and pulling in some of the skills and some of the tools. So, I'm going to be sharing more over the course of both the next few days and then weeks once I can get back on my computer about not only how I'm going through the rotator cuff surgery and the recovery and all that kind of stuff to be able to give organizing and productivity tips to others, but also to expand that a little bit into other health related life disrupting events. If there's something in particular that you have a question about or would like me to address, I would love for you to put that in the comments because that'll help me make sure that I am serving you and giving you information that is helpful to you. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Bye.